Alright, buckle up kids, it is time for fun things that happened in the 12th century, 3rd Crusade edition. The background to the Crusades isn't really important, like all you need to know is that a bunch of Western rulers and the Pope, because it's always the Pope, were like, oh no, the Holy Land that should totally belong to us and not to the people who live there, we gotta go kill all them heathens and take it back, because this is a holy war and you're doing good. The only thing that is important to note is that the Third Crusade is the one that you always see in Robin Hood films with King Richard, where he's this holy crusading warrior being all righteous, only no. Fun thing number 1. So King Richard's on his way to Crusade, he's waffling down the Mediterranean, doing his thing, taking his sweet time, I might add, because it took him like 2 years from taking up the cross to get to the Levant coast, where the Crusades are supposed to be. So he's waffling up, he sees Sicily, and he's like, oh, that looks like a fun place to go hang out while I wait for my fleet to turn up. Fun fact, his fleet hadn't turned up yet because they had wasted time in Portugal, literally boozing, and had gotten thrown out of Lisbon. That was the thing that happened. So he waffles up to Sicily, and he's like, oh, I'm just gonna take this for me now. This is mine. And basically takes like the whole kingdom of Sicily in like a day, which is impressive because Sicily at that time wasn't just the little bit, it wasn't just the boot that was kicking the thing, it was like part of the boot as well. So he takes Sicily, and then he goes up to this hill, and he builds this castle out of wood, but it's like impressive, and he calls it Marte Griffin, which means kill the Greeks. Fun thing number 2. So King Richard's done with Sicily, he's finally getting a move on, and he rocks up near Cyprus, which, if you look at this fun and informative map, is like, so the Levant coast is over here, where he's supposed to be at, Jerusalem's like down here, and Cyprus is here, which is progress from being in Sicily, which is really helpfully folded into the crease of this book. So he's made it to here, and he's like, oh, one of my ships of my fleet has gone missing, and it has my wife and my sister on it. That's a problem. Turns out it's all like windy and crazy, and it got blown onto the coast of Cyprus. The thing with Cyprus is it used to kind of belong to the Byzantine Empire, which is the good guys, but now Emperor Isaac kind of went a bit rogue and now just kind of runs it himself because he's allied with Saladin, who's the bad guy, runs the heathen Muslims who've taken over Jerusalem, which is bad if you're a Christian crusader. So it's like, oh no, he's got my wife and sister, that's bad. So King Richard in the night, like, rocks up to Cyprus, like, storms the freaking island, and like Emperor Isaac, he's literally running for the hills, like he goes to hide in the mountains, but then King Richard gets his daughter and he has to come back, and so he comes crawling back, like literally, and he says this is the source material. The king should be his lord so long as he did not cast him in iron chains. So what does Richard do? He goes, oh yeah, we can be friends, I won't cast you in iron chains. And he makes him sign the deal and everything, and then what does he do? Richard cast the emperor into chains, not of iron, but of silver. King Richard's such a freaking sass monster. Fun thing number 3. So, when Pope Gregory the 8th preaches the Third Crusade, King Richard's the first guy to be like, me, I wanna go kill some heathens, me. And then it's Philip Augustus of France, and then there's Frederick Barbarossa, Emperor of Germany. And he's the big guy, he's the big kahuna, right? And so he's the first one to set out for Crusade, and he's marching along on his way to the Holy Land with all his troops and everything, and they come to this river. Well, I say river, more like a stream, and they get up to it and all his troops are like, we should like find a bridge or something, hey, and he's like, no, I want to go now, and he sends one of his guys across, and the guy makes it across. So he goes across and he falls off his horse and drowns. And that's it. That's the end of the German crusade. He just drowns in a stream. Fun thing number 4. The thing to remember is that the whole point of the Crusades is to go and take back the holy city of Jerusalem. Like, it's a big deal. You'd think that a guy who by this point is pretty much leading the whole crusade, because Philip Augustus has buggered off home to faff about in France and do whatever he wants. So King Richard is like the only guy left who's running anything, okay? So what does he do? Does he march on Jerusalem like straight away? Does he do that? Does he take the holy city of Jerusalem and come back home a crusading hero? No, he doesn't. Because King Richard is essentially a bit rubbish, actually. He tries marching on Jerusalem. If you look at this fun and informative map, a whole bunch of times. Jerusalem is here, and this is all the times that he tried to march on Jerusalem. He kind of goes, and then he nopes out again, and he kind of like gets near, and then Saladin's forces are all too scary, so he runs away again. Fun thing number 5. So King Richard leaves Crusade in 1192, probably. So it's 1192 and he's waffling home, but he doesn't take the route that he came. He doesn't waffle back on the Mediterranean. He waffles back over land because it'll be quicker. But on the way, of course, he runs into the Austrian emperor, who immediately captures him and hands him over to the German emperor. So Richard's got himself captured, and basically what the German emperor wants for his release is 100,000 marks, which is like a huge amount of money. It's about twice what England was making in a year at that time, which is an issue. So how's he gonna get out? He doesn't have that kind of money. He basically sold off everything to finance the crusade in the first place. So who's gonna come to the rescue? Is it Eleanor of Aquitaine? Well, of course it is, because she's awesome. So Eleanor of Aquitaine is Richard's mother, and she's basically been running everything while he was away. Like, supposedly it was the justiciars and everything who were doing it, but no, it's basically Eleanor. So she raises the money and goes to get him, and all is good. Because Eleanor can basically do anything. Why is her statue not outside the Houses of Parliament? We're gonna just solidly ignore that she basically had to tax the hell out of the poor to pay for it, okay? Cool. We're just shh. And this has been fun things that happened in the 12th century, 3rd Crusade edition. Woo! You learnt something. Please don't quote me on any of this, my professors are gonna kill me.